And in this process, we have invited Mr. Karthikeya Sharma, who is an IPS officer of 2014 batch. So he would like to share his journey and also his experiences of working in the field for last 6 years. And also he's an alumnus of IIT Kharagpur and IIM Ahmedabad. So this is a great opportunity for all of us to learn many things from him, from his journey. And also, I would also like to extend my heartfelt thanks to Karthikeya for accepting this invitation and coming to our platform. So now I would request Mukta to carry forward with the official proceedings of the morning. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Mukta Narwal and my companion Charchit Gangwar welcomes you all to this webinar, Aiming High and Managing Life.
नमस्ते। आज के कार्यक्रम में उपस्थित मनीषी अतिथिगण, गुरुजनों, समस्त सम्मानित श्रोताओं एवं विद्यार्थियों, मैं चर्चित इतिहास विभाग किरोड़ीमल महाविद्यालय की ओर से आप सभी का हार्दिक स्वागत, अभिनंदन व वंदन करता हूं। जैसा कि सर्वविदित है, इतिहास विभाग समय समय पर विभिन्न क्षेत्रों के बुद्धिजीवी, शिक्षाविदों एवं गणमान्य विभूतियों के व्याख्यानों व शुभाशीष से विद्यार्थियों और श्रोताओं को लाभान्वित करता आया है। चूंकि इस समय हमारा देश कोरोना जैसी वैश्विक महामारी से त्रस्त है, तो ऐसे तमाम अति आवश्यक कार्यक्रमों का आयोजन ऑफलाइन माध्यम में संभव नहीं है, परंतु विगत वर्षों की भांति इस परंपरा को इस विषम परिस्थिति में भी सुचारू रूप से क्रियान्वित ऑनलाइन किया जा रहा है। और अपनी इस वेबिनार व्याख्यान श्रृंखला के इस महत्वपूर्ण चरण में आज हमें एमिंग हाई एंड मैनेजिंग लाइफ विषय पर कार्यक्रम के मुख्य अतिथि आदरणीय श्री कार्तिकेय शर्मा जी का आशीर्वचन प्राप्त होगा। अब मैं अपनी सहयोगी मुक्ता से निवेदन करता हूं कि वे हमें मुख्य अतिथि जी से परिचित कराएं।
Thank you, Charchit. So today with us we have Mr. Karthikeya Sharma, who is our esteemed guest for the lecture. As a man of great caliber, he has achieved the great 3 I's of our country. He is an IPS officer from 2014 batch, and he has done his BTech from IIT Kharagpur and PGDM from IIM Ahmedabad. Today, he will be sharing his first experience of all these competitions.
धन्यवाद मुक्ता। अतिथि देवो भव की शिष्टता को अग्रसारित करते हुए मैं हमारे महाविद्यालय की प्राचार्य और हमारी संरक्षिका आदरणीय प्रोफेसर विभा सिंह चौहान जी से अनुरोध करता हूं कि वे हमारे कार्यक्रम के मुख्य अतिथि के आतिथ्य सत्कार और कार्यक्रम को गति प्रदान करने के निमित्त 2 शब्द बोलने की कृपा करें। आदरणीय प्राचार्य महोदय।
थैंक यू, बहुत धन्यवाद चर्चित। आपको मेरी आवाज सुनाई दे रही है?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Good. So thank you very much all students, teachers of Department of History, Dr. Amit। इन्होंने मुझसे कहा है मैं डॉक्टर नहीं कहा करूं इनको, मैं अमित कहा करूं। सो अमित सुमन, बहुत धन्यवाद आपको ये कार्यक्रम ऑर्गेनाइज करने के लिए। और सबसे बड़ा आभार मैं मिस्टर कार्तिकेय शर्मा का करती हूँ, जिन्होंने समय निकाला और हमारे स्टूडेंट्स और टीचर्स, और मेरे ख्याल से हो सकता है हमारे कॉलेज के बाहर के स्टूडेंट्स भी कुछ हैं, उनसे बात करने के लिए समय निकाला और हमारे बीच आए। मेनी थैंक्स मिस्टर कार्तिकेय शर्मा। आपने अभी इनका ब्रीफ बायो नोट सुना, और he is now an IPS officer, but he has been to some of the best institutes in the country, which is IIT Kharagpur and IIM Ahmedabad. And through tough competition, ये आप सबको भी मालूम है, IIT और IIM वगैरह के बारे में हम सबको पता है, जो भी यूनिवर्सिटी आता है उसको खबर है उसके लिए क्या प्रिपरेशन चाहिए। And then he gave the UPSC. He appeared for the UPSC and got through the IPS. Police, I have some experience of police life because I come from a family where people have been in the IPS. So I know that essentially their time is not their own, and that is the reason why the talk had to be shifted from yesterday to today. However, that is the reason why I'm even more grateful to Mr. Karthikeya to have found the time to talk to us. So I don't want to come in between you and him, and he would talk to you about, I'm sure, his own experience, his preparedness, the professions possible after Kharagpur and Ahmedabad. Perhaps maybe he may talk of a research career, a teaching career. It depends entirely on him. He is well equipped to scale through the whole range, and he will select what he wants to select. But sir, students are very keenly looking, and many of us are keenly looking forward to hear you. So welcome once again and warm wishes. Thank you.
धन्यवाद आदरणीय प्राचार्य जी। अब कार्यक्रम में क्षणिक विलंब भी ना करते हुए मैं सादर आमंत्रित करता हूं हमारे मुख्य अतिथि आदरणीय श्री कार्तिकेय सर को कि वे अपने मुखारबंद से आज के व्याख्यान के विषय एमिंग हाई एंड मैनेजिंग लाइफ पर हम सभी को सस्नेह अपना मार्गदर्शन प्रदान करें। आदरणीय कार्तिकेय सर।
Thank you, Charchit. Am I visible to you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, everyone. And good afternoon, everyone. Let me admit at first that in all the interactions in colleges on similar platforms, I have always been on the listener side. And giving a talk like this is a new experience for me. And this made me wonder, what can I talk to you which will be of interest to you as well as of relevant to you? And then I thought that suppose I can time travel back and 10-15 years down the line, and I can meet my younger self. So what will I tell him? So I thought I will share my experiments with you, and maybe you may benefit from it. So I will try to be relevant to you all because I mean there is an age gap of about 10-15 years between you and me. Try to be relevant and just try to get maximum what you can do from this. I think the structure will be like I will be giving my talk, and if you have any questions or you want to interact, we can do it after that. Is it fine? Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much for patiently listening. Throughout, I mean, I have been through different careers and to different institutions, and I have experienced PSUs, I have worked with the government sector, I have worked with private sector, as well as in different countries. And one thing that I can say is that the one constant has been that the life is very unpredictable. There is nothing that is within your control. There are so many factors like people, environment, resources that makes it unpredictable. It's very difficult that you can control it. But what you can control is how you react to it. I mean, life can be very overwhelming sometimes. You don't know, you become disoriented. But then there's always a way how to react to it. So in my opinion, there are several life skills that can be of very helpful to you. And one of the most important of them is mental toughness. And by mental toughness, I mean being present equanimity. It means that not becoming very elated in success, not too depressed in failure. See, whenever we achieve something, it's obviously the hard work that we have put it in, but then you have to understand that there are many other factors that have contributed to it. For example, you are studying in college. I mean, it's obviously because of your hard work and your good academics that you are here. But think about it. The college exists because the generation before us and generation before them struggled for our independence. They struggled so that institutions can be set up. Without them, this college would not have been here, and certainly we would not have been here. So our success is not entirely ours. And in the same way, the failures is not entirely ours. We can try, but the results are not in our hands. There are many things which you cannot control. So try to take this in stride, that whenever you succeed, be thankful that you have been be able to achieve it. Whenever you fail, just understand that whatever you have done is not wasted. It has built up your character and it will help you in the future. It's nothing is taken to be personal. It's not a result of you. It's a result of too many factors. So just whenever there is a problem or when you are in pressure, just think that you can do what you know and what you can do. One of them is important is to develop confidence in yourself. See, many a times we imagine that there are certain things which we are not capable of doing. We create barriers for ourselves and then we stick to it thinking that we cannot do it. I will give you an example. Throughout my childhood and college, I was a studious boy. I mean, I was more into books and rarely on playground. Even sports was a troublesome activity for me. So when I qualified for UPSC and got into IPS, I went for training in National Police Academy. And on the first day, they gave us the syllabus. And in the syllabus, the passing requirement was that you have to run for 16 kilometers within 100 minutes. And you can imagine the shock that I got. I mean, running is a different thing. I cannot even walk 16 kilometers. And then I looked here and there and I saw that most of them were like me and unsure that how can we even do it. And initially I thought that this is just to show this is not going to really happen. But then believe me, with training and with all the things, every one of us ran for 16 kilometers and within the stipulated time. So when I ran for that, I realized that there are many barriers that we create for ourselves. It's not that I have been under the impression that sports is not for me, physical activity is not for me. But then when I actually achieved it, it made me realize that certainly you can do anything you want at any point of your time. Another important thing for mental toughness is to avoid the escapist tendencies. Whenever we get a stumbling block, our first reaction is, "Main to lucky kharab hai," or "I haven't been given the right environment," or "Life is a struggle." There is no point of ruminating over it. I mean, there is nothing you are going to achieve from it. Life is tough for everyone. There are certain problems with everyone. But you have to keep moving. You have to find your ways. You have to keep improving. And for mental toughness, mastering your emotions is very important. Whenever you face with a trouble, don't panic. Panicking will never create solution. It will complicate the problem. Be calm. Try to find out the solutions and the answer will come to you. The second most important life skill for success in life in general is learning from mistakes. And we need to understand that everyone makes mistakes and everyone makes lots of mistakes. In fact, successful people make much more mistakes, many more times mistakes than their success. We don't listen about it because success shines like anything. People tend to see the success and not the failures that they have gone through. Now, whenever you meet with any failure, not doing anything about it is a blunder. It is a good repository to explore, to find out what you can do, how you can improve. And if you want to, I mean, look at the example of failure. You all are history students. I mean, you're not unfamiliar with a person who moved capital from Delhi to Daulatabad. Then he had failed expeditions, token currency, everything. And still he is called somewhat a maniac genius. So, I mean, Tughlaq was in a way a failure in a lot of ways, but still we study about him. He made an impression on our country. So if he can fail so much and still contribute, we can also, I mean, I don't think we can do more failure than him. Whenever you fail, there is a method of learning from it. And I would say that whenever you fail, try to analyze what went wrong. There may be certain things you haven't studied. There may be certain things you haven't pondered about or not expected, or you found that certain resources were lacking. Make a list of them, analyze them, what went wrong, and try to find out what improvements you can make. There must be at least 3-4 things that you can change. Make it a habit, change yourself, try again. When you try again, work harder, try, fail, learn, try, fail, learn, till you reach success. And when you do it, believe me, you are improving every time, and every time you are getting closer to success. I mean, look at the way we are interacting with it, the 4G technology that we have. It hasn't come all of a sudden. It came with lots of improvements, lots of problems, lots of pondering over it. I mean, a few decades back, we just had telephone lines, copper lines. Then they improved upon it. They wanted to send data. Then they came up with 2G. Then they stuck with some problems, went to the drawing board again, learned new things. Then came 3G and 4G, and now we are moving towards 5G. So we need to keep learning from mistakes. It helps us grow. One of the major hindrances in our life is our fear of challenges or moving out of our comfort zone. I mean, we believe that happiness is a destination wherein there is no more challenges. Things will be easy and we don't have to exert ourselves. But really think about it. When was the last time that you were really ecstatic? It may be when you took admission in DU, when you got a level up in your online games, or when you learned driving, or when you played sports. All of these made you happy because it was challenging to you and you overcame that. Remaining in your comfort zone will not help you anything. As a human, we love challenges. We thrive off it, and it makes our mundane life, it takes us out of it. I mean, we grow through it. Whenever you move out of your comfort zone, it is very natural to feel uneasy, doubtful, and of
There's some problem with the voice. The voice is not coming now.
I think we will wait for a few minutes. Yes.
coming.
Yes, sir.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So I was talking about, getting out of your comfort zone. So when you are stuck in your comfort zone, you do not realize your potential. And this doesn't really make you happy. Happiness means challenging yourself and overcoming that. And when you do that, your comfort zone gets widened up and you achieve success in many different dimensions. And I was giving an example that I come from a family which has no connection with policing. And when I went into policing, it was really scary for me. And on one of the first postings, I was in a district which had several communal issues. There were frequent communal clashes between the two communities. And in the month of February or something, Saraswati Puja was there. And procession for idol immersion was going on. And the crowd was agitated and they diverted from their set route and they decided to go through a different route which had families living in families of different communities. Now, this was a troublesome thing. And when we reached there and stopped them, there was a clash between police and the agitated crowd. And we said that, no, this cannot be allowed. You have to stick to the route that has been given to you, and you have to go through that. There were some certain troubling elements, and who were determined to create some chaos, and they just decided to ram through police barricade and go through that community. And I was very new to the policing, and facing such a large crowd, and that too agitated, was a very difficult experience for me. But then when they decided to ram through police barricade and go through that lane, we decided to go for lathi charge. And lathi charge was a new experience for me. And when we went for that, there were a volley of stone pelting. But ultimately we prevailed and stopped the procession and allowed the peaceful elements to take control of the procession, and they moved to the right route. So what I mean to say is that you grow through it. When you face any challenge, when you accept it, when you work on it, you actually grow through it. And that experience made a change in me, made me a bigger person. You will obviously ask, I mean, it's okay to move out of your comfort zone, but then how to sustain? And I will say to sustain, you need 3 P's: planning, patience, and perseverance. The planning is the first P, and planning is to get all the details, chalk out your strategy, find out what works, what doesn't work. I mean, if it's UPSC preparation, I will say it's syllabus, type of questions that are asked, good books that you should study, meet people who have been through this journey or who are ahead of you in this journey. Ask them the experience, how it works, how it doesn't work. Chalk out a rudimentary plan. It's not a rigid plan that you have to stick to, but chalk out a rudimentary plan. And as you progress through it, make changes. Make suitable changes that you want. The second P that is important is patience. You need to understand that the difference between animals and humans is our capacity for delayed gratification. We can forego temporary pleasures or instant pleasures for something higher, something better in future. This is not possible for animals. And we need to cultivate it. We need to resist from temptation, and we need to be focused so that something better, something good can come in the future. A desire for instant gratification is a big barrier. And we need to understand that anything big doesn't happen in a day. It takes time, it takes substantial amount of time to get a substantial thing done. So have patience, start small, and it will lead to success. I mean, the often quoted saying that Rome is not built in a day. That's true. I mean, the Rome was built through efforts of generations. And that is true. Anything big requires a lot of effort. And there's no shortcuts to success. Progress may be slow, but then you have to keep through it. The last third P, and the most important one, is perseverance. Perseverance is persistence in doing despite difficulty or obstacle in achieving your goal. When you move in a journey or for any endeavor, problems will definitely be there. Obstacles will definitely be there. You should not cower down because of it. There will be situations when you think that it's beyond your capacity, but believe me, nothing is beyond your capacity. Nothing is beyond the capacity of human. Whenever you are stuck, try smaller improvements. Small improvements regularly will lead to large improvement. Practice discipline, and when you stick to your plan and you are disciplined enough, small progress will lead to big things. I mean, look at our Mars mission, or for that matter, our effort to develop a cryogenic engine. India has been living in a technology denial regime for a long time. I mean, no country was ready to give us this technology. But then our scientists worked with it. They worked from whatever they knew, and they made small improvements. They faced challenges. The engineers and everyone sat together. They tried new things, and the small increments led us to Mars mission. Another important thing that in your life and the foundation of everything is your health. Take care of your health. If you come to Patna and there is a medical college, NMCH, and when you pass in front of it on the gate, there is a Sanskrit shlok written on it, which says, Sharir Madhyam Khalu Dharma Sadhanam, which means to say that body is the tool to carry out works of the soul. I mean, the body is the tool through which we realize everything. If the tool is blunt, if the tool is not working, nothing will work. So work on your body. The body is a temple. If the body is not right, I mean, you will not be able to achieve anything. When your health is down, when your health is not good, you are not mentally prepared, you are not able to concentrate, and then obviously you cannot deliver. And for health, I would say that sleep. Sleep is the most required thing. In my opinion, 7 hours of sleep is a must. And believe me, I have experimented with it a lot. I mean, I have tried different patterns, different amount of sleep, but it doesn't work in that way. Have a fixed routine of sleeping time and stick to it. A few days here and there is fine. I mean, you can work through it, but you will realize that your productivity just goes for a toss. You are not alert, you are not attentive, and you cannot just work with it. When you sleep properly, you are much more energized, you are much more concentrated, and you will realize that you achieve much more. And when you sleep less, you actually borrow time from the future, and you have to compensate. The second requirement for health is exercise. A regular physical movement is must, be it running or brisk walking. For at least half an hour in the morning, maybe in the evening, is very essential. It keeps your body healthy, it refreshes your mind, and whenever you are depressed or you are feeling that it is just too much, it will help you calm down. And it is very necessary for both physical and mental health. And the third requirement is obviously eating right. I'm not saying that you should always eat your green vegetables and should not eat street food. I will say healthy balance between the two. The middle path will be very good. Try to balance street food as well as a healthy diet. And at this age, you don't have to stick to a very hard regimen, but too much here and there is also not good. And on the health topic, I would like to talk about emotional health. In our society, it's often that we take it as a taboo of talking about emotional health or anything about mental well-being. We need to understand that it is a reality in our life, and most of us, stress is just too high for us. The life that we lead is just stressful. We are not ready to talk about it, which is a saddening thing. And not every mental problem is a mental disease. And we should be open and free to talk about it. When you prepare for anything, for the competitive exams or for anything in your life, there will be situations where you will feel that it is just too much, it's too daunting, or you feel that you are worthless or you are not able to do anything. Believe me, it's very common, and I have been through this phase many a times. And sometimes it can be very difficult. And often when you can't talk about it, it makes it even harder. My opinion will be to be very frank about it. Everyone has gone through it. Talk about it. There's nothing wrong in this. And being agitated or being thinking that you are not capable of it is very normal. In fact, it keeps you alert in that way. So whenever you feel like that, just stop your work, take a break. You can go out for a walk, talk to your parents, listen to music, and just go for a movie. Anything away from the thing which has stressed your life. There's no need to take that much of stress. And it's not that taking a leave for 1 day or 2 days is going to harm you. Clear your mind and then start afresh. So I think for a healthy mind, you should, obviously sleep properly, eat properly, do yoga. Yoga is a very good thing for it. Listen to music. Music heals like anything. And just take strategic breaks. And this practice that I have done throughout my studying, that whenever you achieve small success, be it covering a chapter or something, you can treat yourself. This treat can be eating out, or treating yourself with a ice cream. And this really gives you a boost. So I think you can try with this. And the last, the most important for me is staying true to yourself. Every one of us, they keep different faces for different one. We present a different figure to what we really are. But to you yourself, don't live in a fool's paradise. Be very clear that what are your capabilities and what you are planning to do. Don't fool yourself. Be genuine to yourself. And when you are really genuine to yourself, you know your abilities, what are you capable of, and then you can improve upon it. And lastly, most important is do not go for unfair means. Cheating or unfair means will give you a momentary success. You may get good marks or you may be able to sail through, but actually you are not able to develop yourself. You will not be able to realize what was missing in you and how you can improve upon it. And in future, when things will become even difficult, you will not be able to sail through it. So, the whole point of talking was that, life is not a Herculean task. Life is, you have to take life in a good stride. It's like a play, and we have to act our role sincerely, and things will fall in place. We have a great capability to adapt, adopt, and evolve, and we find ways with it. We just have to keep moving. Whenever things becomes difficult, keep moving. Small incremental changes is really required. So I would say enjoy life and start living. That was what I had planned to say. And if you want to interact with anything, I'm here.
धन्यवाद महोदय। जिस प्रकार से आपने विषय के अनुरूप ही जीवन को अप्रत्याशा, अनुशासित जीवन, संयमित जीवन और किस प्रकार से जीवन में आगे बढ़ना है, इस पर अपने व्यापक प्रभाव विचार रखे। आपने जिस प्रकार शारीरिक स्वास्थ्य, मानसिक स्वास्थ्य और एक जो आपने सूक्ति का प्रयोग किया, शरीर माध्यम खलु धर्म साधनम, शरीर एक माध्यम है जहां से आपको पीड़ा होगी और वहीं पे आप सुख भोगेंगे, और शरीर के माध्यम से ही वो सारी चीजें आत्मा को प्राप्त होने वाली हैं। ये काफी, तो ये कई सारी चीजें हमारे लिए एक नया अनुभव है। अब मैं अपने सभी श्रोताओं से अनुरोध करता हूं, यदि आपकी कोई भी जिज्ञासा या प्रश्न हो तो आप यहाँ चैट बॉक्स में लिख दीजिए, या फिर यदि आप सर से सीधे पूछना चाहते हो तो अपना नाम चैट बॉक्स में लिख दीजिए। हम क्रमवार तरीके से आपका नाम पुकारेंगे, आप स्वयं को अनम्यूट करके सर से सीधे प्रश्न पूछ लीजिएगा।
Thank you, sir. I would now declare the floor open for questions. All of you are requested to write your question or names in the chat box. Okay, so first of all, we have Vagisha with us, Vagisha Dubey. So, can you please turn on your mic and ask the question?
Hello, sir. Good afternoon. So my question to you is largely concentrated on your UPSC journey. So what were your subjects and how did you go about studying? Did you take a gap year after your IMA, or did you clear it in your first attempt? How did you go about the coachings and basically managing life with college?
Good afternoon, Vagisha. My subject was economics. After IIM, I took up a job with Samsung, and while I was working with it, I gave the UPSC, and I was lucky enough to sail through it. I will say I didn't take any coaching. It was not possible for me, and I'm not very much in favor of coaching. See, whenever you're preparing for anything, the most important thing is how much time you can dedicate for your own learning, how much time you can give for studying. Coaching will help you to guide. They can just guide you to that direction, but the time that you are spending there is not really adding up to your learning. You have to practice, and you have to find out through the hard means of giving an exam and then finding out what are the problems. I think the internet has a lot of discussion forums where you can clear your doubts, and the study materials are easily available everywhere. Just give ample amount of time to your own studying. Find out your own ways, make notes, and give mock exams. Mock exams are very good to clear your minds, to find out where you are and how much more you have to go, and that will really help you. And it can be any subject. and through that you will be able to really achieve.
Okay, thank you, sir. For next, we have Jishnu. Jishnu, can you turn on your mic and ask the question?
Good afternoon, sir. Yeah.
Good afternoon.
So my question is not like a follow-up of a Bagisha's type of. So when you're doing your graduation or your postgrads like from IIT and IIM, did you like have the plan of being in the IPS from then, or it was a afterwards decision to go for this thing? Because you took economics and that is not something technical subject. So yeah.
So adding on to Jishnu, what made you shift from like private sector to government?
See, basically, engineering was my first choice, and when I cleared for IIT, engineering was a very good experience for me. And but then I thought of and worked for PSU also. But then I thought of moving ahead, and I always wanted to serve in civil services. Civil services has one thing which other services don't have, is that at a very young age, you really affect a lot of people. And you can really make change at a grassroots level. I mean, at this young age, no other organization will give you so much responsibility. So that was my thinking. And when I was preparing for UPSC, I gave CAT, and I got into IIM Ahmedabad, and it was too good an option to leave. And I'm very glad that I went to that institution. Why I took economics is because when I was in IIM, economics really interested me a lot. They teach you economics there also. And economics is a subject which is, I mean, I have been always a person of science. So for me, writing long answers is a very difficult thing for me. I have always been trained to write as small as possible in mathematical work. So from transition from that to UPSC was a little scary. And I thought economics is the bridge that can take me there. So that was the only reason.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. For next question, we have Pranav with us. So Pranav, can you turn on your mic and ask the question?
हेलो सर, गुड आफ्टरनून सर।
गुड आफ्टरनून
सर, जैसा कि हम सर आपके लेक्चर सुनने के बाद हमको ऐसा लगा कि सर आप बहुत ज़्यादा सब्जेक्ट के नॉलेजफुल हैं आप सर। जैसे इंजीनियरिंग किया, उसके बाद आपने इकोनॉमिक्स लिया, आपने ये अच्छे सब्जेक्टों का ज्ञान रखा। तो सर मैं ये जानना चाह रहा हूँ कि सर आप इसको चेंज करते समय आपने क्या सोचा और कैसे आपको लगा कि हाँ हम इसमें कर सकते हैं, और उसके बाद आप अपने इसकी प्रिपरेशन के दौरान आप अपने पेशेंस को कैसे बनाए रखा सर?
प्रणव, अगर देखा जाए तो जब करियर चेंज का डिसीजन लिया था मैंने, तो हाँ एक डर लगा था, क्योंकि एक स्टैब्लिश्ड लाइफ हो गई थी मेरी। मतलब एक कंपनी में मैं जॉब कर रहा था और वो आसान था छोड़ देना, मतलब उसमें रहना, और उसको छोड़ के फिर से तैयारी करना, फिर से वही मतलब प्रॉब्लम में आना मुश्किल था। पर शुरू से ही मेरा मन था कि मैं सर्विस में आऊं, और जैसे कि एक सर्विस का होता है एम था मेरा, और हमेशा मन में अटकता था कि अभी और कर सकता हूं। इस कारण से मैं और आगे बढ़ा। और जहां तक तैयारी की बात है, तो मैंने एक्सपेरिमेंट करके ही किया। लोगों से बात की, उनकी कुछ बातें अच्छी लगी, उसको ट्राई किए खुद से। वो मुझे अच्छा लगा तो मैंने उसको अपनाया, नहीं तो मैंने हटा दिया उसको। कई लोगों ने बहुत से सुझाव दिए, कुछ लोगों ने कहा ये सब्जेक्ट रखो, वो रखो। जैसे कि अगर आप यूपीएससी की तैयारी करेंगे तो आपको बेसिकली सभी कुछ पढ़ना होता है, और तो मैंने वही कोशिश किया। सभी कुछ मैंने इनिशियली पढ़ा, 11 12 के जितने भी सब्जेक्ट्स होते हैं, और कोशिश किया कि बीए के भी कुछ सब्जेक्ट्स मैंने पढ़ूं। और उसमें जो मुझे सबसे अच्छा लगा वो था इकोनॉमिक्स, और मेरे दिल के करीब भी था वो, और मेरे लिए थोड़ा आसान भी लगा मुझे, इसलिए मैंने वो चुना। मैं अभी आपको यही कहूंगा कि किसी के कहने मात्र से मत जाइए। आप उनकी बातें अगर अच्छी लगे तो अपने जीवन में करके देखिए, फायदा लगे अपनाइए, नहीं फायदा लगे एकदम छोड़ दीजिए। आपकी जिंदगी है, आपको अपने साथ से जीना है। तो और ये भी मैं कहूंगा कि सेटल नहीं होइए। अगर आपको लगता है कि आप और कर सकते हैं तो आप रियली कर सकते हैं। अगर इस चक्कर में मत रहिए कि इसको छोड़ के इतना बड़ा रिस्क कैसे लें। मेरे ख्याल से रिस्क लीजिए, आपको फायदा होगा उसका।
थैंक यू सर।
Okay. So for next question, we have Gaurav. So the question of Gaurav is, sir, how's your first year experience in this department?
First year was mostly training in National Police Academy. And as I told you, I mean, there was a lot of physical exercises that we had to do. In the morning, we had 2 hours of PT. And so we had to be in the field around 5 in the morning. And then we came back, go for classes where we are taught law and everything else. And in the evening, it was just drilling. And in the afternoon, you were supposed to practice riot control, unarmed combat. Then you have to do drill and everything. And you can imagine in Hyderabad, where temperatures just go high, and you have to be in full riot gear and you have to control mob. It was just a troublesome experience. But then it was really a new experience. And as I said, the greatest achievement was for me was running 16 kilometers. I mean, I cannot, explain to you. It seemed just impossible for me. And in just 3 or 4 months, we were able to do it. And talking about coming to the policing, when I came, when I joined Bihar, I had some very good experience of policing in district. And as I told you about my experience in Lathi charge there, so there were many such things through which I learned about it. There are many problems, many things that you learn about it. And in my opinion, there are many things in which you can make life easy for people. So overall, it was a very good and very new experience.
Mukta, I have a follow-up question on what sir just said. May I ask that?
Yeah, yes, sure.
Yeah. So what made you choose, put IPS as your first option and not like IAS or IFS, considering you did not like physical exercises as much? What your first priority?
It's not about choice. I was very less confident about being in policing. And but then I thought that if I am able to move from different careers, I can also go through this. And most importantly, the decision maker was not me. And in this case, it was my family. And my father is very passionate about policing. He had many friends who were IPS officers, and he just wanted to see me as an IPS officer. And when I qualified for it, the shine that I saw in my parents' eyes, mother and father, so I just decided to just go for it. And I thought I will learn in the journey.
ओके तो जैसा कि सर ने अभी अपने माता पिता का जिक्र करा, तो मुझे इंफॉर्मेशन मिली है कि इनके माता पिता भी आज हमारे साथ यहाँ पर इस कॉल में जुड़े हुए हैं। तो मैं आप लोगों से रिक्वेस्ट करूंगी कि आप प्लीज आए और 2 शब्द बोलें, कुछ बताएं हमें इनके बारे में, आपको कैसा लगा और कैसी सब इनकी जर्नी रही। तो सर एंड मैम, प्लीज कैन यू कम ऑन द माइक एंड स्पीक समथिंग।
जितेंद्र अंकल प्लीज ज्वाइन करें हम लोगों को। जितेंद्र अंकल, अगर अब तक हमारी आवाज पहुंच रही है तो प्लीज आप 2 शब्द इन बच्चों से कहें, कार्तिक के बारे में आप अपने अनुभवों को साझा करें।
I think there is some connectivity
I think he's getting
issue.
some technical glitch to overcome.
Okay, so till then,
no,
we
he's
will
well
continue.
connected with us, but I think.
Okay.
Yeah, you can
so
have
we
next
will
question.
Continue with the next question, and whenever they are able to join, we will ask them. So next question.
Good afternoon, sir. If there are common myths around UPSC preparation that you have to study 12 hours, 13 hours, 14 hours for it, what are your views on it?
In my view, it's not humanly possible to study for 12 hours consistently for days. My opinion will be that anything more than 8 hours is not proper utilization. I mean, we cannot sustain for more than 8 hours, and don't plan for studying more than 7 to 8 hours. You need refreshment to your mind as well as to your body. So planning for 12 hours is not a sustainable thing. I have studied for 7 to 8 hours, and it was not possible for me also to give more time. But 7 to 8 hours consistently every day is a very good thing. And you can achieve it, and I think that is required, not 12 hours.
And sir, what was your cadre preferences and why did you choose Bihar?
My cadre preference was first was Bihar, second was Jharkhand, and in that order. It was mostly because for me, I was ready to serve in any state, but then it was because my parents were thinking of settling in Bihar, so I thought through this I will be able to stay close to them. And there was nothing else. And Bihar is a very good cadre, and people say that it is one of the best cadre to work through it. So, and I accept that opinion. I mean, that is really true.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Sir, I have one situational
Yeah,
question. Excuse me. Am I audible?
Yes, Jatin.
Yes, Chetan.
Sir, actually the question was you are posted in a flood affected area and means by unforeseen circumstances relief items are not reaching you and locals have been ravaging against you and one of your colleague was hit by locals and now you have to go there. What is your view? What will you do to handle local people because they are very agitated against you.
As I can get, you are saying that situation is that there is a flood and you do not have adequate resources and people are agitating against
Yes,
it,
sir.
right?
Yes, sir. And one of your colleague was hit by locals.
In this case, I will answer it from administrative point of view as well as from policing point of view. First point of view, whenever the crowd is agitated, there are different ways to deal with it. And in this case, there is a genuine grievance. People are agitated not for a wrong thing, there is actually a problem. So in this case, you have to be sympathetic to them. You have to be open to them. And I think the best case would be to just listen to them, listen to their grievance, and try to find out what you can do to solve their problem. And in my opinion, in policing, the police is a really disciplined force. And when you listen to them, there are many things that you can do. Foremost being that in flood-affected areas, there are boat patrols. Boats are there through which are normally used to carry people who are affected to some safe place. You can do that. You can help with rations because the helicopter service is there, the Air Force is there. You have just coordinated everything. And in my opinion, if you are able to listen to the people and guide them what we can do, and you can organize them so that they become, instead of opposing you, they help you in arranging all these things, it will be a really big help for you. So in my opinion, you have to mold their opinion so that instead of opposing you, they become your support group and help you in rescuing this.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay, so next question we have from Yogesh. His question is, so from where we should start preparing?
Preparing about UPSC, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So in UPSC, as I said, you should start with finding out NCERT books. Go through NCERT books of 9, 10, 11, and 12. They will give you a broad spectrum of what syllabus is, what all things you have to study, and from then you can move on for further study. But then this will give you a rudimentary knowledge about a lot of things. Try to find out what are the good books that are there available. And when you have a basic foundation, give a mock exam. And then try to find out what have been your problems, what were the lacunas, and then modify your strategy, build upon it, give exam again, and so on.
Okay, sir. So next question we have from Aditya. Aditya, can you please turn on your mic and ask the question? Aditya Bhattacharya.
Good afternoon, Honorable Sir.
Good afternoon.
Sir, I wanted to ask, sir, what has been the general change in the perspective of CSE examination as compared to 6-7 years back? And sir, these days we see a lot of engineering graduates clearing the CSE exams. So is there any discrimination? Is there any less success rate of humanities students, or sir, what is the reason?
I don't think so. Many more engineers are coming here because many more engineers are now preferring UPSC. For a long time, engineering students were not really coming into UPSC. You will be amazed to know that many doctors are coming for it. I mean, in my batch of IPS, there were several, about 20 doctors in it. So I think it's becoming more popular, and the exam is not designed in a way to help or resist anybody from coming here. The recent upsurge is because it is becoming much more popular. About changes in UPSC, I will say that for the last 5-6 years, the stress, pattern changes every year. The focus changes subject-wise every year. So you just have to be prepared for everything. Change is not much in last 5-6 years, but in the sense that you have to be much more aware of the things, and you have to keep tab of minutest details of what is happening. You have to be much more aware and much more thorough. The competition has always been tough, but then it is more because the vastness of this syllabus and the things that you have to be really on top.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, so for the next question, we have Riddhi Parmar. Riddhi, can you please ask the question?
Yes, good afternoon, sir. So, sir, my question is about the transition from a student to an officer in the government department. So, it's like I understand that training has the most important part to play in this transition, but also most important part in training is also self-learning. You just have to learn yourself. So, were the principles that you used to use in your student life the same that are required in your job as an IPS officer?
See, for learning or for excelling anything, a few things are always there. First thing is you have to be clear on your basics. For example, in IPS, you have to know the law. You have to follow it. If you don't have the basic understanding, you will not be able to do it. The first principle is there. The second principle is that not everything can be taught through books. You have to be on the job to learn, and you have to have an open mind to learn from it. You will not be able to do your best from the first day. You will learn from it, you will improve upon it, and then you will be able to deliver. Thirdly will be perseverance. If when you face problem, do not hide. Learn from it, give your best, and then try again. And I think these three will help you with anything. Learning the basics, on the job training, and perseverance.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, so for the next question, we have Suraj. He has asked, sir, how much time one should give on reading the newspaper as a beginner?
As a beginner, I will say give more time. Select some good newspaper. Try to go through its editorials, news which are about society, about culture, about laws that are changing. In the beginning, you will have to read a lot, understand a lot. When you read from it, then you have to do some basic research about it. Try to make some notes. And after 2 or 3 months, you will feel that you have some substantial information, and then your time required for reading a newspaper comes down. But in the beginning, give good sufficient amount of time on it. I would suggest at least an hour or more. Go through it, make notes. Making notes is very important. And keep a repository, keep revising it.
Okay, sir. So for the next question, we have Aditi Kiran. Aditi Kiran, can you please ask the question?
Yeah, afternoon, sir.
Afternoon.
Sir, I have a question that as a common people, we have a very common mental perception that bureaucrats have a very elitist jobs, right? So I want to ask you that what were your thinking when you were a student and before joining the job? and what's it that you are facing right now that's very different from what you were thinking as a common people before joining the job? What's the reality?
See, when you come to administration, the kind of image that society has and the actual work is a little bit different. There are just too many things that you have to focus upon. And sometimes it becomes difficult to find out which is important and what you have to leave behind. One of the good things as well as the bad thing is that it is highly unpredictable. You cannot plan your life. I mean, you do not know what emergency may come in next day or even today. You have to be prepared for everything. And when you are in a district, basically any problem, any issue is your issue and you have to handle it. You may not have the resources, but you have to be inventive and you have to get along with people. I mean, you have to take people in your confidence. Facing public is not an easy thing. And that to an agitated public is a really difficult thing, but then you have to hold your ground. And the people normally have a perception that it's a relaxed life or an easy life. It is not so. It is quite demanding and you have to be on your toes.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay, so for the next question we have from Siddharth. He's asking, good afternoon, sir. What are the personality traits that an interview looks for in a civil servant, and how should the prospective aspirants inculcate them?
See, when they are interviewing you, they are looking for a genuineness, how genuine you are. And the people who are taking your interview have been through so much in life and they are so much experienced that any facade that you put up, it will be visible to them. So in interview, be genuine. Try to answer from the best of your knowledge. Don't try to show off, and definitely don't lie. They know what we are all capable of and what we all are, what we have failed in life. I will say focus on whatever you have done till that time about your DAF, the things that you have written on your DAF. Be thorough with it. It should not appear that you have written something, but you are not aware about it. But give answer from your heart, not from your brain. Think before you say, and don't try to show off.
Okay, sir. So the next two questions are by Shambhavi. So the first question is, you talked extensively about failure and how we should learn from our failures. But how does one keep oneself constantly motivated as not to let failures demotivate us and keep it from becoming a hurdle in our lives and our goals?
It's a very valid question that, I mean, the fear of failure, I mean, it really stops you from trying anything. And just look after, I mean, look through your experience and you will see that, I mean, the happiness that you get when you achieve something or when you think that it's difficult and you did it. It may be cooking. It may be learning to drive a car or even a bicycle. These are the things that are important milestones in your life. And these are the things that you remember. So stumbling blocks will be there, but you have to just keep pushing. You need to understand that you are not limited by these problems. You are much more beyond that. You need to find the answers. And if you try enough, and if you try constantly is the word, you have to keep improving yourself and you will find a way through it. There's nothing impossible and you will definitely be able to do it. But just don't have the defeatist attitude.
Okay, very well said, sir. So the next question by Shambhav is, what are your views on rising cases of police brutality in India? Also, what are your opinions with the role of UP police in the recent Hathras rape case and also the cases of police brutality on protesting students?
See, police brutality cannot be accepted. Police brutality, as is shown on the TV, is just not acceptable. I mean, we live in civilized society, and but you need to understand that what the media shows sometimes is not the complete truth. And you also need to understand the mindset of the police personnel. It's not that they have come from different place. They are part of the society, and sometimes they indulge in these activities because either we haven't focused enough on training, we haven't sensitized them enough, or our system is not that strong enough. We need to make it clear that such behavior is not acceptable. First one. Second, invest on training, the software skills of how to talk with people. These should be focused. I mean, normally, anyone, when I was also in college, going to a police station is not a very good experience. So we need to teach software skills to our police personnel. They need to realize that it's a service. It's not just a job. They are there to serve the people. And I believe that with right kind of leadership, people do really change. And there are many examples of police forces in our country which are very professional. UP Police has also done great work. And getting one example or the two and then painting the whole police will be unfair. UP Police has been doing very good work. Whatever has been wrong, that needs to be corrected. And I'm pretty sure that the police leaders, they are taking note of it and they are trying to improve. We need to understand that, vast change cannot come in a day. It takes time. So I'm sure that as our country develops, our police forces will also develop.
Very well said, sir. So now I think I would like to ask for your permission. Would you like to take more questions?
Yeah, sure.
Like which? Okay. So before taking more questions, I would again like to tell all of you that we have parents of Mr. Kartikeya K. Sharma, Jitendra Sharma with us. So I would like him to come on the mic and like give us some information how so grew up and what he did all. Like, तो मैं जितेंद्र शर्मा से बहुत अनुरोध करूंगी कि कृपया आप माइक पर आएं और सर के बारे में कुछ दो शब्द बोलें, कुछ भी दो, बस दो बोलें लेकिन आए जरूर. Sir, will they be able to join or can I ask more questions and then wait for them?
They have already joined. I think there is some technical issue. That is why their voice is not coming in. So you can continue with the discussion.
Okay. So we will continue with the questions. And so the next question is from Charchit Gangwar. Charchit, can you please ask the question?
नमस्ते महोदय. महोदय, मेरा प्रश्न है कि जैसे कि आप बताया कि लक्ष्य प्राप्त करने के लिए एक प्रबंधन की आवश्यकता होती है, तो मैं ये जानना चाहता हूं कि इस प्रबंधन में हमारा सामाजिक संपर्क, मित्रों की भूमिका और हमारा जो सर्कल है वो हमें किस प्रकार से मैनेज करना चाहिए और ये हमारे लक्ष्य प्राप्ति में किस प्रकार से अहम भूमिका अदा करता है. धन्यवाद.
देखिए, आपके दोस्त कौन हैं ये बहुत जरूरी है. आप किस तरह से लोगों से संपर्क रखते हैं, जिनके साथ आपका उठना बैठना है, यह बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण होता है. आपकी संगति कैसी है यह बताती है कि आप भविष्य में क्या करेंगे. अगर आपके दोस्त आपको आगे बढ़ने की प्रेरणा देते हैं, आपकी मदद करते हैं और आपके जो प्रॉब्लम्स हैं उसको शेयर करते हैं और उसके साथ आपको बढ़ने में मदद करते हैं, तो आप सही डायरेक्शन में हैं. पर अगर वही दोस्त आपको रुकावट बनाते हैं या फिर आपको आपके पथ से या आपके लक्ष्य से दूर ले जाते हैं, तो आपको वो संगति छोड़ देनी चाहिए. जहाँ तक मित्रों का है, बहुत ही अहम रोल रहता है. जैसे कि मैंने कहा कि इमोशनल जो हेल्थ होता है उस पर बहुत ध्यान देने की जरूरत होती है. कई बार आपको लगेगा कि कहाँ फंस गए हैं या क्या चल रहा है, उस समय मित्र काफी काम आते हैं. कुछ टेंशन लगा तो उनके साथ चले गए, लंबी वॉक पे चले गए या उनके साथ घूमने चले गए या एक ब्रेक ले लिए, उन सब में बहुत मददगार होते हैं. तो मैं कहूँगा कि संगति अच्छे रखें और कुसंगति में ना पड़े.
Thank you, sir. So the next question we have from Apurvi. The question is, whenever any person is entering into this elite service, he has a long goal back in his or her mind. So what was your goal, or what change you wanted to make after becoming the part of the service?
The one thing I will tell you about one of my experience. During my third year in engineering, I went to United States, and the quality of life that I saw there was much more improved than what we have here in India. And at one of the airports, there was a Sri Lankan authority there, Sri Lankan person was there, and he said that, and I was talking about what are the difference between US and India or Southeast Asia. And he said that US will always be US because you people always move to that place and you do not stay back and make changes in your own country. So I think that was the first time that I really thought of staying back in India. And that really changed. So then I decided that no, I will not pursue higher studies in US and I will work here. And thinking about that, I thought that UPSC is the most potent service which really makes changes in the ground. As I said that people have, in normal public life, they have a lot of interaction with police, whether we realize it or not. When you are in traffic, when you have in disaster, or when you are in normal day-to-day activities, policing plays a very important role. And the kind of policing that we have requires a lot of improvement. And I try, and I have tried, and I will keep on trying, so that the quality of life that we have for people as well as for the police personnel improve in this country. That will be my aim.
Okay, sir. Thank you. So I think we have Mr. Sanjeev Das from Department of Education, DU. So Mr. Sanjeev, can you please turn on your mic and ask the question? Mr. Sanjeev, are you there? Okay, I think there is some network issue or anything. Then we will continue.
I think he has left the meeting.
Okay, so then we will continue with the next question. The next question is again from Siddharth Acharya. Sir, the cyber security is a serious issue in India with banking frauds worth 1.6 lakh crores in 2019. What are recent initiatives on Indian police to tackle the menace with regards to training of personnel?
Very relevant, and yes, it is true that cyber security and cyber crime have really increased a lot, and we expect it to increase even more. And cyber frauds, you can just say that calling and social engineering that is being done to siphon off money is on the rise. What policing is doing is they are first trying to make people aware that these problems are there. And the foremost thing of not to sharing your the password that you get on your phone is one of the most important thing. Secondly is about investigation. Cyber crimes are there, but the problem is that a lot of police persons are not that tech savvy, and it's not possible for them to investigate those matters. So what Bihar Police has really done is they have tried to make it a part of their training, and a lot of personnel have been trained for this. And with the help of that, many cases have been solved, and the money has been returned, and the culprits have been sent to jail. Thirdly, what we are doing is that we are trying to ease the process of registering an FIR. Whenever such frauds happen, the first thing that people should do is go to a bank and register an FIR. Normally, registering an FIR becomes difficult, and they try to, and the delays there really affects us. So whenever such fraud happens and you register an FIR within 4 hours, the chances of recovery increases. So we are trying for that. Then a lot of such frauds happen through cell phone. So we are making a database of all those phone numbers, and we are trying to block the numbers as well as the handset that use them. So that further problem cannot be there. And then a lot of policing in state have created helplines. For example, what happens is that a lot of cyber frauds in Bihar may be coming from Jharkhand or from West Bengal. So whenever our forces go there for arresting or everything, dedicated window is there in Jharkhand or in West Bengal, which helps us in investigation. So I think these are there. Our coordination is getting up, and people are getting more trained. So I think this cyber crime will be much more eased up.
So we are entertaining the last question from Nandini Singh. So Nandini, can you please ask the question? Nandini Singh. So I think there are some technical issues. So
Hello.
Instead we will. Okay. Please, Nandini, please.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Sir, my question is that what was the hardest decision you ever had to make during your work?
Hardest decision. I would say there have been many, and sometimes there are real moral dilemmas. And when you're not able to decide which will be the right way. I gave you an example of when I was posted in district in my very first year, and I had to face that crowd. And that crowd was hell-bent on going through a street which was dominated by some other community, and there was imminent chance of a clash. And as I told you, I am not from policing background. I have never seen policing in my life, and it was evident that I need to use force. But then I have never done that, and it was difficult for me at that time. And when we started with using of force, there was a volley of stones. And what happens is that whenever the stone pelting is there, the forces just move back. And when the leader himself moves back, the force just turn away. So you have to stand there. And it was a troublesome sight for me that stones are there and you are not experienced for it, but then you have to motivate your police persons that you are not allowed to do it. I think that was very difficult at that time because it was my first experience. After that, things became much more easier.
Thank you, sir.
अभी महोदय के वक्तव्य के बीच में ही उनके अभिभावक भी हमारे बीच जुड़ चुके हैं दोबारा से। तो मैं आदरणीय श्री जितेंद्र शर्मा जी से अनुरोध करूंगा कि वे कृपया अनम्यूट होकर हमें भी सर के जीवन से जुड़ी कुछ प्रेरणादायी घटनाओं के बारे में बताएं। आदरणीय श्री जितेंद्र शर्मा जी। महोदय, क्या आप तक मेरी आवाज पहुंच पा रही है? शायद तकनीकी खामियों की वजह से अभी भी हम सर से दोबारा नहीं कांटेक्ट कर पा रहे हैं।
सर से आवाज नहीं जा रही है उन तक।
ओके सर,
सो कंटिन्यू विद द प्रोसीडिंग, जो हो रहा है उसको कंटिन्यू करें।
तो मैं अब अगले प्रश्न की ओर बढ़ता हूं।
हाँ, so I will continue with the next and the last question for today. Sir, in the interview, there are many questions that makes us in trouble. For example, if I'm a commerce graduate and joining different segment, then it makes us speechless in major points. Please guide us over this, how to tackle this situation. Sir, is that the most considerable point?
Can you repeat the question? I didn't get it.
Okay. So in an interview, there are many questions that makes us trouble. For example, if I'm a commerce graduate and joining defense segment, then it makes us speechless in major points. Please guide us over this, how to tackle this situation.
Our education system is such that we often take that science, commerce, or arts are silos in themselves. And there is not learning from one that you can take it to the other. It is not that way. When you study science or when you study arts, you're actually not studying about that subject. You're studying about technique of viewing things. And there is not one way of looking at anything. When you study science, you develop an analytical ability. You develop the way of questioning things and then trying to predict about it. When you study humanities, you develop a different perspective, which is missing in science. I mean, the science cannot go into emotions, or science cannot go into human values. Science is different and humanities is different. In the same way, commerce is different. So basically, you need to have qualities from everything. And in our life, or in civil side, or in any job, you require techniques and you require skills from all these three streams. So when you are from commerce, you are not actually carrying knowledge of commerce. You are carrying skills of commerce, and that skill is required in every field that is there, be it defense or be it anywhere. The skill that is required. It's not the actual knowledge of balancing the balance sheet or cash flow statement. That is not needed. But what you need is the ability that you carry with you. And same can be applied in any situation. Any given situation will be different reactions will be given by a person from science and person who is trained in humanities or who in commerce. It's not that one is right and the other is wrong. You require synthesis of all these three. So any organization which has combination of people from different diverse backgrounds will always be much more developing and much more exciting.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry. Add to it. You asked about how to face these questions. So when they ask about these questions, their intention is not to show that you are not fit for it. What they mean to say is that they want to find out whether you have thought about it or not. These are the questions that you should ask about yourself, that why you want to go into that service. Why is that service important to you? And when you are clear about it in your mind, you will be able to answer it. They also know that being in commerce student does not disqualify you from defense. Being in any subject does not disqualify you for anything. But what they want to know is that whether you have applied your mind, whether it's a momentary decision or you have really thought about it and you really want it. So in that case, I will say that you prepare for it and just give your honest opinion that why you want that job. It can be, simple thing that I just want a job. That is acceptable, but don't try to sugarcoat it. Don't try to show them that for some from something which you are not yourself sure of.
Thank you so much, sir. We have one more last question, and I promise this will be the last. So, can you please ask your question?
कामना, आप तक हमारी आवाज
Jain, yes.
Jain,
sir, my question is that hello.
Hello.
Yes, am I audible?
क्या मेरी आवाज आप तक आ रही है?
रोहित,
yes, Rohit, audible.
मेरे ख्याल से दो लोग जानना चाह रहे हैं.
So my question is that yes, sir. So what's about the IB? By being as an IPS officer, there's a lot of opportunity to join IB. So what's your opinion over there?
Yes, IB is a very good organization, and it's a very good career option. I haven't served yet in IB, but I have heard people that it's a very fulfilling experience. It requires, you need to give certain years of service in IPS to go into IB, and your field experience really helps you in that. So I have heard that IB is a very good experience, but I do not have first-hand experience of it.
Thank you, sir, for all my questions answered.
Okay.
So, sir, मैं कामना हूँ.
जी मैम, बताइए.
सर मुझे ये क्वेश्चन पूछना था आपसे कि जो सिविल सर्विस की हम तैयारी करते हैं, इसकी यात्रा बहुत लंबी होती है, तो इस दौरान अपने आप को मतलब सकारात्मक कैसे बनाया जाए? अपने जो आपका अनुभव रहा है उसके आधार पर सर बताइए.
देखिए, सिविल सर्विसेज के एग्जाम सही में बहुत समय लगता है, टफ भी है और बहुत कुछ करना होता है. आसान भी नहीं होगा, मैं ये नहीं कहूँगा कि आसान होता है. इसमें दो एस्पेक्ट कहूँगा. पहला तो आपको मोटिवेशन की बहुत ज़रूरत है. लंबा जर्नी है, काफ़ी कुछ पढ़ना पड़ेगा और कई समय ऐसे आएंगे जो आपको लगेगा कि ये नहीं हो सकता है या फिर बहुत ज़्यादा रिक्वायरमेंट है, कैपेसिटी की नहीं है. उन सिचुएशंस में खास करके आपको ध्यान देने की जरूरत है कि अगर आप वहाँ झुक गए तो फिर यूपीएससी नहीं होगा. पर अगर आप उस समय ही थोड़ा सा भी स्मॉल प्रोग्रेस करके देखेंगे, ट्राई करेंगे, तो आपको बहुत बड़ी सफलता मिल सकती है उसमें. इम्पॉर्टेंट ये है कि आप हार ना माने. चाहे जैसे भी सिचुएशन आए, आपके मॉक टेस्ट जितने भी खराब जाएं, जो भी हो, पर हल्का इंप्रूवमेंट करते रहिए, कुछ ना कुछ नया चीज सीखते रहिए, कुछ ना कुछ नया करते रहिए, वो अल्टीमेटली आपको सक्सेस देगा। और दूसरा ये बात हमेशा याद रखिए कि जो दूसरे लोग हैं जो कंपटीशन तैयारी कर रहे हैं वो भी आप ही की स्थिति में हैं। एज सच हम लोग बहुत अलग नहीं है, सब लोग जो भी एग्जाम देते हैं करीब करीब एक ही होते हैं। इंपॉर्टेंट ये होता है कि आप कितने डेडिकेटेड हैं, कितना हार्डवर्क देते हैं और कितने हद तक जाने को तैयार हैं। इसमें मैक्सिमम लोग इसलिए नहीं कर पाते हैं क्योंकि वो सोचते हैं कि अब इससे ज्यादा हम तैयारी नहीं कर सकते हैं, या वो थक जाते हैं। आपको रुकना नहीं है, हार नहीं मानना है। अगर आप तैयारी करते रहिएगा और अपनी गलतियां सुधारते रहिएगा, छोटी छोटी इंप्रूवमेंट्स करते रहिएगा, वो आपको अल्टीमेटली सक्सेस देंगे। और दूसरा ये भी याद रखिए हमेशा कि यूपीएससी ही सिर्फ चीज नहीं है, यूपीएससी के अलावा और भी चीजें हैं। जो आप तैयारी करते हैं तो वो आपके कैरेक्टर को बिल्ड करता है, आपके ज्ञान को बढ़ाता है, और ये आपको आगे भी मदद करेगा। सिर्फ एक ही फोकस ना कीजिए कि यही सक्सेस का पैमाना है। सक्सेस लाइफ में यूपीएससी इतनी बड़ी चीज नहीं है कि आप उससे डिटरमाइंड हो। आपको सोचना है कि जो हम दे रहे हैं वो मैक्सिमम देंगे, आगे जो होगा देखा जाएगा। तो मेरा यही रहा है आज तक।
धन्यवाद सर।
मुझे एक जानकारी मिली है कि सर के जो अभिभावक हैं उन्हें अनम्यूट करने में दिक्कत आ रही है। तो सर अगर आप तक मेरी आवाज पहुंच रही है तो कृपया अपनी स्क्रीन पर टैप करके देखिए, वहां पे वीडियो और माइक का ऑप्शन आएगा, आप उस पर टैप करके अनम्यूट कर लीजिए प्लीज खुद को। सर क्या आप तक मेरी आवाज पहुंच रही है?
जो होस्ट हैं आज की मीटिंग के, मेरे आईडी से लॉगिन किया गया है, उनको बोलो वो अनम्यूट कर सकते हैं सेंट्रली। इशिता, जिष्णु, जतिन, आप में से
Jatin is the host.
So please tell him to do it.
Sir, actually it's not possible.
सर जूम में हो सकता है, मीट में नहीं होता
Okay,
शायद।
it's all right. It's all right. We should move forward. अंकल की blessings बाद में कभी ले लेंगे।
ठीक सर। तो
He's
तो
trying his
धन्यवाद।
best. Let me tell you, let me inform all of you that since last say half an hour or so, he's trying his best, but he's not been able to do so. So we should thank him for this effort, and next time hopefully we'll have him live. कभी वो अगर दिल्ली आए तो we'll invite him for the lecture. Thank you.
धन्यवाद जितेंद्र सर कि आपने इतना प्रयास किया लेकिन हम आपको नहीं सुन पाए। ये हमारे लिए दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण है और हम चाहेंगे कि भविष्य में हम आपको दोबारा सुन पाएं, आपका शुभ आशीष प्राप्त कर पाएं, सर से जीवन के जुड़े विभिन्न किस्सों को जान पाएं। पर अब कार्यक्रम को समापन की ओर ले जाते हुए मैं निवेदन करूंगा हमारे विभाग के एचओडी आदरणीय डॉक्टर अजीत सर से कि वो आए और आज के मुख्य अतिथि जी को धन्यवाद ज्ञापित करें। आदरणीय अजीत सर। डॉक्टर अजीत सर।
Ajit ji has left the meeting in between because of some technological error. So you can invite someone from student side to do the honors, either Jishnu, Ishita, or anyone.
Okay. So
Jishnu bhaiya, can you please come and give the thank you note?
Yes, respected principal ma'am who joined us and she had to leave, I guess. Kartikeya sir and the esteemed guests of different departments from KMC and abroad, and to all the other participants who came here. We are really thankful to sir for taking out so much time from his so busy schedule with all the elections and everything coming up. And we'd also really thank all the participants who had the time for this meeting. So generally, as a student of our department, we present the guest a token of thanks and love and respect. But since in this pandemic situation, we're really very sorry we couldn't present any memento as such. But from our level, we tried to make something virtual and would like to present that to you. Please bear with me.
So Ajit sir has left a message for you. So he has written, I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks to Kartikeya ji for such an engaging and enlightenment talk. Whatever you pointed out, from coming out of your comfort zones to to growing up with experiences, to concentrated on PPP formula, to maintaining strict daily routine, to establishing body-soul relationship. Everything was with utmost conviction and confidence. I am sure your talk will definitely enlighten our aspiring students, whosoever are willing to join civil services. Thank you once again.
Thank you so much.
So there are many people who are writing thank you messages for your in the chat box.
Thank you so much.
There are many people. So then
Please give Jishnu a chance to propose the vote of thanks. He's doing it virtually, so.
Okay.
Can I say something? Is it possible, Mukta?
Yes, sure, till Vishnu.
While he's presenting, Karthikeya sir, I would like to say this is one of the first sessions that I'm attending of some IAS or IPS. So what was very interesting was that what you taught us, your success mantras, they were not only for UPSC, they were for life. So thank you very much. It was very enlightening and engaging. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much, Kachit.
Jishnu, please read it, at least in English.
Yeah, am I audible?
Yeah, Vishnu.
Yeah, respected Karthikeya K. Sharma sir, thank you for joining us for this interesting and thought-provoking interactive session, Aiming High and Managing Life, on 30th September 2020 as a part of our webinar lecture series of Department of History, Kirorimal College. Your presentation was very well received by the student and the information that you provided us was fascinating. We look forward to meeting you on campus in future. आदरणीय श्री कार्तिकेय के शर्मा जी, किरोरीमल महाविद्यालय के इतिहास विभाग के वेबिनार व्याख्यान श्रृंखला के एक भाग के रूप में 30 सितंबर 2020 को आयोजित उच्च लक्ष्य और जीवन प्रबंधन पर आधारित एक रोचक और शिक्षाप्रद व्याख्यान देने के लिए आपको बहुत धन्यवाद। आपका वक्तव्य छात्रों तक बहुत सुग्रहित थी एवं आपके द्वारा प्रदत्त समस्त जानकारियां प्रभावी रूप से दिग्दर्शी करने वाली थी। हम आशा करते हैं कि आपने भी छात्रों के साथ हुए संवाद का आनंद लिया है और भविष्य में पुनः आपने शुभाशीष से अभिभूत करेंगे। डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ हिस्ट्री, किरोरीमल कॉलेज स्टूडेंट्स यूनियन। थैंक यू सर।
Thank you so much. Thank you everyone and for listening, and all the best for your endeavors.
Again, thank you so much, sir. And very big thanks to your parents for trying so hard. I'm short of words. And thank you so much for taking out such a long period of time in your such a busy schedule. And also, I would like everyone present here for coming and joining this session. A very big thanks. Thank you so much for making it a big success. Thank you, everyone, and have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, everyone, from my side also.
Thank you, sir.
For this
Thank
wonderful webinar, and for your keen interest in the subject, in the speaker, and asking some relevant questions. I think this would give you some experience to work out how to prepare for your competitive exams after you complete your graduation. Thank you so much for attending this. Hope to see you on 2nd October for our Gandhi lecture series. Thank you. All the best.
Thank you, sir.